Hey, welcome. This is The Process. My name is Dr. John Bush. This is a continuation of our journey through the season of fantasy football. We have arrived at week 11, Thursday game scripts, matchups, rankings with uncertainty. Again, this is my process. I'm showing you what I do and how I'm viewing things. This hopefully helps the few of you that are listening. Thank you. Yay for listening. Uh, anyway, let's continue. A lot of injuries out there, a lot of things happening. Just stay awake, be aware. Uh, some interesting things for certainly this week with Green Bay and Tennessee. So just keep your eyes open. Hopefully your waiver wire went well and things are looking up for your team. Play to the whistle, I believe, what folks say, and that's what I do. Even if I'm in last place, I'm going to play and try to mess with whoever I can mess with, and make people earn it, because that's how I want it to happen when I'm in contention. I want the worst place teams to do their best as well. So that's you paid for the ticket, finish the ride, and that's what I say. Keep updating your fantasy football diary. Make note of things like how good are you at Thursday game script, putting starters and sitters. Do you miss it entirely? Do you jump in too much? Do you not jump in enough? You need to figure that out, okay, for yourself, not for what I'm doing, right? So continue the diary. Go look at that lesson where I talk about diaries a little bit. You can listen to that lesson there as well. Okay, so in case you haven't been with me before, I have 3 blocks of information that I use. I use Vegas scoring, Vegas analysis, Vegas predictions, whatever you want to call it, game spreads, and then kind of what I'm thinking a little bit about favorites and underdogs. I usually don't have a lot of time to go away from what Vegas is saying. I don't necessarily follow Vegas, but having done some initial studies, their over under and things are interesting and probably point the way to fantasy football goodness or not goodness. Okay. So we're looking for high shootout kind of games, right? More touchdowns, usually more fantasy points, and the opposite are low scoring games. So that's high scoring above, 48, 49 above. 42 or less are low scoring. These, not a lot of touchdowns. Uh, Maybe more defense kind of plays. If you're playing defense, maybe that's how you look. I play PPR, so I'm liking high shootout games. Also look at game spread. To me, if there's a big spread in the game, that tells me that garbage time could happen, and so I need to potentially plan accordingly. And sometimes the lead team gets a little conservative and they don't pass as much when they're ahead, so that can affect plays as well. If it gets out of hand, they'll start pulling quarterbacks and other things, and that is really, really sad when you need 4 quarters and you get 3 out of your main players. So that is sadness. So you do need to be aware that that's sitting out there, kind of the elephant in the room. So think about, if the game goes as the spread says, what does that mean in the third, fourth quarter? Where are we at? For instance, if the team that's the underdog by 14 points, that probably says they're not going to be running as much. So that means the passing to any and everybody is up, and that can be beneficial for some potentially low-ranked players that might surprise you this week. Defense against the position. Hey, my dog's growling. I don't know what he hears. He's not happy about Thursday games either. Defense against the position. I call it DAPS. Hey, and DAPS are looking for easy defense against position, right? If you're playing a quarterback and the other team doesn't handle quarterbacks well, that's good, right? Or if they're very tough on quarterbacks, that's not so good. So you need to set lineups accordingly. A lot of that maybe is more for tie breaking and your third or fourth flex position, but still, it's good to know. And sometimes you have to play good players in bad situations. What you gonna do? You're stuck doing it. You drafted, Justin Jefferson #1, and he's got a tough match. I mean, what are you gonna do? You got to play, right? That's the old play your playmakers, play your stud concept, but doesn't mean we have to be happy about it. Or we could alter other lineups to potentially compensate for, one less touchdown out of him or something. So it allows you to think a little bit. I give you the opponent's overall defense when I'm looking at two teams, and, I do colorization, so that can just in a blink, you can figure out a little bit. Home versus away. In my snap report, I dig deep into home versus away efficiency. And if you hadn't seen snaps, I don't think a lot of you have, because they think, oh, I know snaps. Well, you don't know other stuff I throw in there, and that includes the efficiency. And I believe that's worth the price of admission, 0, right? There's no money in this business. And we look at, again, the overall DAP. We're looking for easy scenarios versus tough scenarios. We want green light, not red light. I also break it down by rushing or wide receivers and passing, quarterbacks, tight ends. So we get the running backs for the rushing, quarterback, wide receiver, tight end for the passing, kicker, and defenses are all rated easy to tough. And you just need to kind of get a feel for what you're walking into this week. And good tiebreaker, that, like I said, that flex spot or something. If it's extreme situations, they're talking about bad weather. Is it in Buffalo? I think so, because that can be an extreme situation as well. So that can add to the controversy of, playing deep into these games that are going to be tough anyway, and then the weather and other issues can confound you. So just be aware, pay attention, wake up. And finally, I have my rankings table for each team in the matchup, the player of the team, the position, my rankings, which is Fantasy Sports Professor Rankings, FSPR, and the uncertainty level that I've assigned the player, again, for this week, right? For this week. So my rankings go from 100 or so to 0. 100 is good. Anything above 75, I'm thinking, is a first tier. 74 to 50, second tier. And usually below 50 starts getting a little dicey what tier you're going to get. I think it can get a little bit flaky at that point. So I don't feel as confident about players below 50. Sometimes I got to play them, and, it is what it is. Each player's predictive not only to have a ranking score, but what category, what bucket are they in? High, average, or low uncertainty situations. That can be weather, that can be past performance, that can be the team, that can be efficiency, home versus away, Vegas. It's, I try to stir that in a little bit and get some idea. It's probably not is scientific. It's more the art side of it where I assign these, what uncertainty level. But, I try to make a shot for myself. Again, this is my process. High uncertainty players have a broad range of outcomes. They can probably be better than you think, or they can be way worse. So, how cracky is the ice that you're sitting on, right? You're in the minefield, which way to go, right? Players with low uncertainty, you want to think are pretty much what you think they are, right? They are who you think they are with low uncertainty players. At least we hope so. So low uncertainty players are safe, high uncertainty players less safe. So if you're doing daily fantasy betting and these kind of things, which I don't do a lot of, I may put $1 or $2 in each week. That's the level that I'm comfortable with, because I don't have time to solve that issue and handle 50 something leagues, etc. So think about the safety, think about the uncertainty, the rankings, what Vegas is saying, what's the range of outcomes, what's the DAPS, and put that all together. So Thursday night here, okay, it's 12 minutes, so I'll be done in 8. Green Bay and Tennessee. The first block is game 1 of the week. It's Thursday tonight. Packers favored over the Titans 3 or so. So usually when you say 3, that can mean that it's a home game for the favorite, which in this case it is. I always heard that's kind of a rule that Vegas assigns without any other things happening, about 3 points to the hometown favorite there. Tennessee at 18. Tennessee has a pretty easy defense, and Green Bay has a very tough defense. So we've added that to the mix. Vegas is not a fool; they're aware of the defensive capabilities, but yet they've said it's only 3 points. So when I see that, I'm thinking Tennessee could surprise a little bit. But since the spread is so close, this could be a game where, it's up for grabs. I think the Packers will win. Vegas thinks that. It's a low scoring game, 42 points. That almost implies the defense is going to have a lot more say here in this game. So, if Aaron Rodgers and his team, had Davante Adams and were hitting on all cylinders, I suspect the over/under would be much higher. But that's not the case. So we have a diminished offense and a strong defense ruling this game here. At least that's what Vegas is thinking. So we get a low scoring game. So this is never the best. I don't like Thursday anyway. I haven't done the expectation. I'm sure there are people that have, but I don't know if they've carried it through the stats necessary to really know what they know, right? Everybody's an expert, right? Hot Dog Man, own up at the stadium, knows more than, you do, right? So it's hard to tell what's what, who's who, and be cautious on Twitter. Everybody says a lot of things to get a lot of attention. And I try to limit my interactions on Twitter because I ain't got time for that stuff. Okay, so I got business to take care of. Monkey business, people might say, but It's his business that I want to spend. Okay. The next block is my DAP block. This is the game, Green Bay, Week 11, the last half of the season. It's a home game. The opponent is Tennessee in green. That means it's easy. The offense is easy. And what's interesting, though, is the rushing figures to be a little bit tougher than average, right? I go below average tough. So Aaron Jones is going to have to earn his biscuits tonight. And he may not be as efficient. So it's a Thursday game, which I think are bleh games. I don't like Thursday. I don't like games in Europe. I don't like any of that stuff. I think it messes with the rhythms and the game preps. I don't care what they say. That I've just rarely am I satisfied with a Thursday game, and I'm not looking forward to this one as well. So, what does that mean? That actually means that Aaron Rodgers has an easy matchup with his wide receivers. Christian Watson really woke up last week. I don't know if it'll be a 3 touchdown, but it's an extreme easy. He could surprise. The tight end even has an opportunity there. Not happy with the kicker, but the defense, Green Bay defense, you could play. It's not the best, but it's certainly not the worst there. So, Vegas says there's a defensive component. Vegas says the offense in Green Bay is not hitting on all cylinders. You would think rushing would dominate, but there is a fly in the ointment. So Rodgers may have to pass later. So you won't get the full deal. I think early in the quarters, they'll try to rush it more than anything, but they may, if the Titans stay close, then Rodgers may have to open it up. So I don't think Green Bay is going to give us what we need from a Thursday game. So I'm pessimistic, even though the slate here, the DAPs, seem to imply lots of good passing opportunities here. Tennessee, on the other hand, has got it tough all the way across. It's an away game. Ryan Tannehill's coming back from his injury. He did pretty good last week. We'll see what happens, but he's going into a hostile environment against a tough defense. Look at this. Henry will have the best shot between that and the tight end. Tennessee tight end may give you a little something. That could be a surprise for daily fantasy there. But Tannehill and his wide receivers, I don't even know who that is these days. It's hard to imagine who's going to be good. It's usually the Henry show. But, if Tennessee wants to win and they get behind too much, Henry is not going to be as strong as we would like. You got to play Henry, and you hope that Tennessee can stumble into the red zone and Henry can run it in. But I just don't think we're going to get the full taste of this King Henry's rushing this week. I think if we come out with some double-digit points and a touchdown, it's been a good night. So this could be a little bit wacky, but you got to play him. So, that's not really any question. Green Bay figures for Aaron Rodgers. I think he's still, even in this scenario, I got him close to a QB2 this week. I'm just not enthusiastic. It's average. Aaron Jones has an 84. He should be a low RB1, and he could probably score, but average uncertainty could not be as much as we want. Dillon is high uncertainty. I don't know what you're getting. You getting a 3, you getting a 4, you getting a 5 RB. Dillon becoming to me, just a handcuff. Tanyan has an opportunity as a tight end to maybe slip a touchdown in, but that's a gamble. Looking, it's high uncertainty, not looking there. Lazard could come back. He could be a solid wide receiver too. Low uncertainty. So I think Watson is a 31. I mean, I'm not convinced by one game. Most people are not, right? We're humans. We like to see a couple weeks, in the row. So yeah, if he scores 3 touchdowns, then everybody's head explodes tonight. But I'm a little bit cautious. Maybe that's just who I am. I don't like Thursday. I'm not convinced Aaron Rodgers is 100% these days, so I'm more pessimistic. But yeah, if I have a flex and I feel lucky and I'm chasing points from last week, go for it. I just don't know. I think I picked him up in a few leagues, but I'm not sure I'm using him, right? I'm just not sure what's going on. I guess some people, well, if you're not using this one, when are you going to use him? Yeah, there's the flip side. And it's always good to flip the argument. So maybe he's worth the flex. I don't know. This is what I'm thinking this morning, Thursday morning, right? I don't know what I'll be thinking by tonight, but I'm probably not playing him in a lot of leagues. But I could. That's the fun of fantasy, right? Sometimes you don't know until you know. Tennessee Titans, the Green Bay defense, Crosby, Tennessee, Bullock, I think they got somebody to replace him. He's out, so this may be double check that, but I'm not playing Bullock anyway, or whoever they're dug up to play. I think it's Lambeau, huh? Now that I think about it. So you could replace Bullock with Lambeau here. Tannehill, I got a 12, folks. 12. That's sadness right there. Sadness. 12. High uncertainty. I'm playing Tannehill if I don't have nothing else to play. Henry figures 100. Low uncertainty. That's the play if you got to play Tennessee. That's just it. That's the play. Hooper, maybe, but doubt it. Woods, Burks, I don't know what we're getting. Akina, he got a couple touchdowns last week. I did move him to average uncertainty because I guess I'm as confident about him than these other two. So I guess if you're just got to gamble tonight, he might be worth a 50-cent or $1 play on daily fantasy. That's about it. So on paper, it looks like it's the Henry show and not a lot else. So we'll see. Maybe Tennessee wakes up tonight, but boy, Thursday, it's just, I'm so pessimistic. Even looking at this, I just don't see a lot of goodness here at all. Okay. Be cautious, I think. Be critical. Wait for Sunday. I think hold your powder. I think there's better games ahead. So anyway, thanks for listening. I hope this enlightens you on my process and gives you something to think about. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just trying to open my process booklet, and maybe you can take a few pages out of it and help your game. And I think if you follow me and keep listening to my lessons, listen to the podcast at thescienceoffantasyfootball.com, and my partner in crime, D-Mike, I think there's an opportunity to move your game forward. If you're joining us late, then maybe not this year, but get your diary, start working on it. If nothing else, if you think you're out of it, work that diary. Make choices anyway. Do some testing. Okay? Break the mold. If you're out of it, if you're 1-9 or 0-10, whatever, now's the time to do some experiments. I'm a scientist. Do some experiments. Don't be a whah-whah and take your toys and go home. Okay? Now's the time to get in-game experience and doing some experiments. What happens if I do this? What happens if I play it this way? Okay, write it down, see what happens. What a great opportunity, right? You're in the middle of the battlefield and you can try different tactics to see what happens, and hopefully you get an edge next year. Okay, I wish everybody good luck. Woo woo, we're having lots of fun, except on Thursday nights, we're not having fun.